All right, welcome to the Shadow of the Apple. It's episode 17, and it's probably going to be one of the rougher episodes we've had, just because of the final scores for some of these games. The Yankees and the Mets both finished up. The Mets finished up a road trip. The Yankees finished up a homestand. Neither went the best, the way you'd want it, but I would say it was definitely worse for the Mets, if you'd agree.
Yeah, it was another rough week for the Mets. Um, Lost another series. They won on Thursday. Um, Juan Soto had a home run, but then Saturday was really bad. The main culprit being Freddie Peralta once again. Just want to notice how bad Freddie Peralta's been pitching since he said he wanted Max Fried money, and he'll be lucky if he even has any value come trade deadline. Um, his value is low key dropping because he's not even pitching that well, Ryan.
Yeah, I mean, his past will definitely help him. I wouldn't say he's not going to be on a major league roster next year, but he's definitely not going to get what he's asking for. Um,
Yeah, yeah, he'll
it's
get.
it's it's been rough as a Met for him. If you want to talk about his most recent performance,
Yeah, I mean, yeah, we can talk about how rough it is being a Mets fan this week. I mean, I I'll be real with you. It's like it's gone to the point where I'm not really paying attention as much, if not at all. There's so many other things that's going on right now that I've been focusing on and just been more exciting. Like the Knicks parade, which was
hmm
last week. I went to that. That was a great time. Um, the World Cup as well, and me betting and losing all my money doing that. So there's a lot that's been going on. So I really haven't. I will with you. I'll be honest. I haven't really had a lot of time to watch the Mets. But it's not like the Mets are really giving me a reason to watch them or other things. You know?
yeah, I mean, it's definitely been rough recently. What was it? It was a two and four road trip, right? They just finished.
Yep.
So yeah,
And then on top of the Freddie Peralta pitching bad, you had Schwarber hitting multiple home runs. You had Bryce Harper hitting a cycle.
hmm
Um, it was bad. It's really bad. I don't know. I know Lindor is still rehabbing. I know Tyrone Taylor is still rehabbing because that will save the season. So, um, yeah, man. It's just there's not a lot to say anymore. I really don't have a lot to say about the Mets, and I hate to be boring, and but it's been really the Mets have been boring. It's not like this team has kept me alive. These games have been close. I mean, they didn't get blown out on Sunday, but I mean, Phillies were better. I mean, and we could talk about how the coach could have been fired 2 months ago, and maybe things could have been different. The Phillies fired Rob Thompson, and now they're a wild card team. But I was thinking about this. I was like, why? I was like, the Mets are bad, right? But they chose to be bad in a really crappy year, a year before a lockout year. You're kind of just giving up on the season. I mean, wouldn't you want to, I don't know, try to do everything to keep your season alive when you might not even have a season next year? That's how I look at it. So, them just having meaningless games for the rest of the season, and then we'll see what happens with baseball afterwards. It's depressing.
yeah. I mean, on the bright side though, if you take a look, they are only 6 games out of a wild card spot. Of
Which
course,
is
there's a lot of teams they have to jump
impeccable.
over, but
Yeah, which is it's very surprising that they still have there's still a window.
yeah,
Um,
the season's not over. But
yeah, but it's like statistically it's not over.
of course, yeah,
Statistically, the season is not over, but it feels like it. It really feels like there's nothing left out of this team. And a part of it is just that they don't really have a lot of talent. The teams, a lot of these guys that they thought would show up either didn't or got hurt. So, you know, like the team doesn't really have anything, so like I don't know. Like it's really rough. It's really just like uninteresting. Like I haven't seen anything. It's so rare when I haven't seen any tweets about the Mets or anybody talking about the Mets. Like I've never seen a fan base so clocked out, so uninterested right now.
Yeah, I mean it's been a rough season. Uh, I can't even say it's a roller coaster season. There hasn't been that many highs, but that game with Freddie Peralta started, I would say would sum up the season a lot so far. He went 2 2/3, gave up 10 runs on 10 hits, only had 2 strikeouts.
Yeah, like I think Freddie Peralta is very inconsistent. He's a very inconsistent pitcher this year. I think they were expecting a little more consistency from Peralta, but I don't know, and I really couldn't. I really couldn't like. I really wish I could tell you why he struggles, but like when I went to that game against the Cardinals, he just was like, I don't know if it's just like where he throws it, what his counts are. Like I just like I mean he doesn't last long. I think that's the biggest thing. Like he's out by the fifth, sixth inning. He doesn't really have any juice in the tank. He's not generating like strikeouts. He's not really generating groundouts. Like it's not like he's been unlucky. I don't really know what is wrong with Freddie Peralta. I wish I could tell you. Like when Sham and I, like when he was struggling, I could tell you what was wrong with him. I can't tell you what's wrong with him. I can't tell you what's wrong with Freddie Peralta.
He throws a lot of pitches. That could be part of it. Yeah, I don't watch him every five
Yeah,
days, so I
I
couldn't
think
really
I
tell you
think
exactly. But
his he does have long pitch counts and he does walk a lot of batters. So that definitely does come into play. Um, but yeah, man, like it's rough, bro. Like the Mets for the second year in a row were in Philly for my birthday. Second year in a row they lost in Philly for my birthday. Um, it sucks. It really does. I wish I could tell you more, but I don't really have a lot to say about the Mets. They are basically doing the same thing they've been doing all month. You know, they got a 7-game homestand next with the Cubs, and then they're gonna play the Phillies again. So I mean, we'll see. We haven't played the Phillies all year until this season, until this series, which is pretty interesting. Sorry, which is pretty interesting when you
you just
consider.
mentioned that with the Braves too. Yeah, you guys hadn't played
Yeah,
them until the last episode.
yeah, and they won a series against Atlanta, so it's like
Hmm.
I don't necessarily feel like this team is like this team definitely they do show you flashes at some point, but they feel like a work in progress when I don't think that's what this team was supposed to be. This team wasn't supposed to be a project. Like, but this team was also kind of go big or go home.
Yeah, it kind of feels that way with the Yankees this year too. Obviously not with the struggling, but it's like a win now year. Obviously with the lockout we mentioned, and the Mets have some shorter contracts. The Yankees have contracts coming to an end, to an aging core. But I want to go back to that game. Unfortunately, for the Mets fans listening, um, with the Bryce Harper cycle and Schwarber hitting 3 home runs. I do want to mention, I saw a fun stat about that, or interesting. I guess it wouldn't be fun, but that's actually
Yeah,
happened before, which I couldn't believe. But it was actually the Yankees who did it back in June of 1932. Um, they did it against the Phillies, I'm pretty sure. Tony Lazzeri hit for the cycle, and Lou Gehrig, that was his 4 home run game. So that was interesting. I couldn't believe that happened before at some point.
man, the ball definitely goes dong
Hmm.
in Philly, bro. It's it's interesting because I feel like when the Mets are good, they play the Phillies really well. When they're not good, they don't really try at all against Philly. Like when the two teams are both good, at least recently. I'm not gonna talk about like the past like 2000s, I'd say, but recently when the both teams are pretty good, the Mets have actually had their number. So, but the last few years when we haven't been good, it's been pretty lopsided. So I guess that's another sign for this season. But yeah, like I think right now, uh, you can't really you can't really like expect anything out of this team. I think you're kind of just expecting to see what will happen at the trade deadline. You know, I think you're just kind of waiting for people to come back and see what you can do with them. You're gonna get Clay Holmes back. I think he started pitching. He started throwing again. I think so. Um, that's a good sign for the Mets because that means he'll be available to trade. And I mean, I'm not sure if like it's just like I can't see it. I can't see this team knocking off 6 in a row, 7 in a row, 8 in a row right now because they're just so inconsistent. You know, like like when it comes from the pitching to the lineup, this team is just so hot and cold, and more times it's cold than hot.
Yeah, I mean we've got over a month until the trade deadline, so we'll see what happens with that. But I mean, like I said earlier, they're only 6 games out of a playoff spot, which is insane to think about with how
Yeah,
poorly they've played.
I don't know how because has the National League been bad? Like I don't understand how they've been. They still kind of have a shot. I mean, 6 games is still a lot. There's probably a. I'm assuming the gap. There's a lot. There's probably a lot of teams that have a small gaps between each other. So I'll check right now. But yeah, like the Mets. The Mets are the third to last team out. But everything after that these teams like the Pirates, the Reds, the Diamondbacks, even the Marlins, they're all half a game apart. So the Mets are actually considerably pretty far apart from the rest of the wild card teams. So I mean, like I guess 6 games is not like it's not crazy, but like when you compare it to the rest of the teams that are in the hunt, it does feel like a big gap.
Yeah, there's 6 teams between the Mets and the final wild card spot. But I mean, it's baseball; anything can happen. So, I mean, I don't know. I guess you'll have a better idea in a month. We'll see where that number is and what they'll do
Yeah,
with the deadline. But I agree with what you said last episode that they can't do nothing. They either have to sell or they have to somewhat buy, depending on
I'd
how far the
sell
things are in.
I'd sell everybody. Like, no joke, I'd sell everybody. I would seriously sell everyone. I would genuinely sell everybody that we signed. Like, no joke. We should probably trade everyone. Like, everybody. I'm not even being like I'm not joking. They genuinely should trade like majority of this team and get some kind of value for some of these players. I don't know if they will even get anything because, like, and I honestly, I really just hope some of these guys come back so they could trade them because a lot of these guys are not. They're getting paid a lot annually, but they're not on long deals. We talked about that. So,
Mhm.
really early in the season, we talked about that. So, like, I guess in that sense, I mean, I don't know if these teams really want to pay these guys all that money. Like, I could like if I'm a team right now, I wouldn't want to trade for Bo Bichette because his contract is so favoring him. So like the Mets are also kind of in a little bit of a weird spot because they pay these guys a lot of money, and I'm not sure if some of these teams even want to pay these guys salaries or at least part of it because the Mets are probably going to have to pay a decent cut of it.
Yeah, I mean, like with Bichette, we saw what he did on the postseason last year for Toronto. So maybe a team would take a chance on that. But yeah, I do agree with what you said overall. It's going to be tough to unload some of those shorter contracts. And even though they're short, it's a lot of money. So the
Yeah,
Mets might have to eat some of it up too. But I guess that we'll probably do a lot of talk about the deadline as it gets closer.
yeah, man, we can definitely have our own episode talking about trades and trade targets and all that stuff. We'll definitely have an extra episode where we talk about trades because that we can
Hmm.
go on and on about that. Mets and Yankees, since one team will be buyers and one team will be sellers. Do you think the Mets could possibly trade any of these guys to the Yankees?
Um, yeah, I would say it's unlikely overall. I mean, the Mets, you know, why like the same thing I said with the Red Sox when we were talking about Chapman a few weeks ago. Like, why would they help them win? But if they can get a good package back, maybe. Not sure exactly who the Yankees would go after. I mean, maybe Luke Weaver. I did see some rumblings about that. Uh, Again, I think it's unlikely, but that could be
Yo,
interesting.
Devin Williams is available, bro.
Yeah, I mean, I think we'll probably pass on that one, but who knows? The reliever market is not not too many names out there at this deadline, so I guess we'll have to see.
Yeah, I guess time will tell is the only thing I could really say.
Yeah.
But in my honest hearts of hearts, I really do not think this team will do anything. I think the best chance they had to bring this season back was when they beat the Tigers and they beat the Yankees, and then they went back to being the same old Mets. So, I think that's where basically I'm at. But there's just so much other stuff. So like I haven't really had the time to really be angry about this team because like there's just been a lot that's kept me happy. Actually, if I'm gonna be honest with you, I'm actually just not really in a great mood because I cashed out right before my bet hit. So the one time I tried playing safe. So I'm not even mad at really about the Mets. I'm kind of done with the Mets. But we could talk about the Yankees now.
Yeah, so with the Yankees, it wasn't as bad as it was with the Mets, but it definitely wasn't.
Oh,
It's not
you
what they
don't
wanted.
say?
What was that?
You don't say?
Nah, yeah, no, I don't say. But the homestand started off with a 3-game set with Chicago White Sox. The Yankees took the first game 12-1. Garrett Cole started. He went 6 innings, gave up 2 runs with 6 strikeouts. The Yankees hit 4 home runs. Spencer Jones hit his first at the stadium. Ben Rice, Paul Goldschmidt, Jose Caballero all went deep. They scored not all, they scored most of their runs, 10 of them to be exact, in the third and fourth inning combined. So it's another one of those situations we were talking about where, the Yankees, a reliever will come in and the Yankees will just go off on them and put the game out of reach. Game two, they won that one 10-5. Carlos Rodon started, 5 innings, 3 runs, 7 Ks. Some more home runs, Belly, Goldie, Jazz. That game also was more of a blowout too. I mean, 10-5 still kind of is, but Paul Blackburn and Jake Bird both gave up a run in relief. Two guys who I don't really see on this team once they refresh the bullpen, especially because I'll get to in a little bit. But Jake Bird was optioned to AAA. But Paul Goldschmidt, I mean, I talked about it in the last episode. He's been for $4 million. He's been amazing off the bench. I find it crazy that in the All-Star voting, Vlad Guerrero Jr. is ahead of Ben Rice. I mean, I think Paul Goldschmidt should be above Vlad when you look at the numbers. But Goldie has 10 home runs. Oh, as of that point. So on June 17th, he had 10 home runs in 146 games in the 2025 season. But then he had hit his 11th that night in only 47 games this year. So he already beat past his home run number of last year in a fraction of the games. And then the third game of that series to wrap it up, the Yankees did lose 5-1. Ryan Weathers had a great start. I would say probably his best this year after a rough stretch. He went 6 in the third, only giving up 1 run with 8 strikeouts. Ryan McMahon hit his 8th home run in the third inning. It was a 1-1 game until late in the 8th when the Yankees bullpen issues continued. Camille Doval came in and gave up a pinch hit grand slam to Andrew Benintendi, Yankee legend, by the way. That was 4 runs, 1 earned run to Fernando Cruz, 2 of them to Tim Hill, and 1 to Camilo Doval. I think that just kind of sums up the way this bullpen's been. It's rough. Camilo Doval's he's had a great stretch, honestly, but his last 2 times out have not been too great. I don't know what they're going to do with him. He has great stuff. You see it. It's insane how he's not a top reliever in the game right now, but yeah, I don't know what his issue is, to be honest. I think he can't locate some of his pitches sometimes, and he walks too many guys. But that was that series. Then the Reds came to town. The Yankees won the first game 5-0. Cam Schlittler continued to dominate. 6 innings, no runs, 13 strikeouts, no walks. He has an AL best ERA of 1.71, and that's the lowest ERA a Yankee starter has had in their first 16 starts of the year since Whitey Ford did it in 1964. So I mean, he's special. I mean, I said it at some point too when I saw him pitch in the minor leagues. He's pitched opening day for Somerset, beginning of last year. Like, I mean, I knew he was good, but I didn't know he would be this special. It's honestly amazing what he's doing. And in a rotation with all the big names the Yankees have, the fact that he's the one putting up all these numbers and breaking all these records is uh, pretty amazing. So he's still the front runner for the AL Cy Young. Um, Also in that game, Ben Rice and Jazz both had home runs in the second inning. But then this is where I would say, the rough patch started for the Yankees. On Saturday, they lost 10-2. Will Warren went 5 2/3. He gave up 6 runs, but only 2 of them earned. Defense did not help him at all. And then Ryan Yarbrough, another guy who I can't see being in this bullpen come October, gave up 4 earned runs in the eighth. Goldschmidt also had his 12th home run. And then game three was supposed to be a Garrett Cole start, but they pushed everyone back, gave everyone an extra day of rest. And Elmer Rodriguez made his fourth start, came from AAA. He went 4 innings. He gave up 3 runs, all on a 3-run home run by Tyler Stevenson in the fourth inning. So I want to ask you, do you think that the decision to start Elmer Rodriguez, of course it was to give the starters some rest, but do you think that it was in a way of showing him off for possible trade bait?
Ooh, what game did he start?
He started the third game against the Reds, so he started yesterday.
Okay. Okay, so I mean, they ended up winning the game though, correct?
Now they lost that one 4-1.
Oh, so they lost the series.
They did lose a series to the Reds.
So, okay, so I mean, I don't think the Yankees are at the point where they should be just like throwing games.
Yeah.
So that means I don't know. I think, or to be, I guess, experimenting with people. I just think that's also a weird game to do that. Like if you do that at game one, and then you lose the first game, you still have a chance to win the series. That's a little different, or even in the middle of the
Hmm.
series. But to have it when you win the first game, you lose the second, you get blown out in the second game, and then try to use a guy like that. I mean, it's risky. It's a very risky thing to do.
I agree.
Um,
Yeah.
so I mean, Aaron Boone masterclass, right?
Yeah. I'm gonna assume because I agree with you. I thought it was really weird to do that in the tied series with Garrett Cole supposed to be started, but my guess is that it was scheduled ahead of time before the series started. They probably uh, wanted to give these guys rest. Obviously Rodon coming off an injury. Um, Cam Schlittler being young doesn't have too many seasons of throwing this many innings, and then Garrett Cole coming off Cy Young. I mean, not off Cy Young, off Tommy John surgery. So, yeah, I think it was probably scheduled ahead of time, and the pick to be Elmer Rodriguez, I think, in my opinion, could be some trade bait. I feel like if the Yankees have anyone who's untouchable going into the deadline, it's going to be Carlos Agrange, who's their number one pitching prospect, and their number one overall prospect, George Lombard Jr. So I feel like Elmer being their number two pitching prospect, he showed some nice stuff. We know he has good stuff. He just couldn't really locate his fastball too well. I feel like this decision could have been just to show him off again for his fourth start on a major league level, um, to possibly end up trading him for somebody. Who knows who? But a bunch of teams would love to have this guy um, join their rotation. So I think that could have been the decision there. But that about does it for a recap on the Yankees. Ben Rice hit a home run off Chase Burns, his 22nd in that game, but like I said, they lost 4-1.
Damn.
Yeah, so that's a 3-3 homestand for the Yankees. Um, it's not exactly what you want, but they're still in first place. They're up 2 games. They currently sit 46-30 without all these names. I don't have to go over again and do it every episode. So tonight they start a series in Detroit. Garrett Cole does actually start tonight. So we'll see what goes on there. I'm pretty sure they're scheduled to face Scooble twice within the next week.
Damn.
So that's brutal for them. These games where you're not facing Scooble, but you're facing the Tigers are going to be crucial. So tonight, I would say is, Garrett Cole starting pretty close to a much win as a regular season game in June can get. But yeah, maybe Skubal pitching is showing off for the Yankees. Maybe he doesn't have to show off much, but there has been talk about the Yankees and the Dodgers being the top two teams to possibly trade for Skubal.
Yeah,
So,
I was gonna bring that up. How
mhm.
they have potentially uh going up against a future trade prospect. I will say this though, if the Dodgers do get him, we might be screwed.
Yeah, if the Dodgers get Skubal and there's an agreement, especially to re-sign him or they extend him right away, I mean, I don't even know. Like, I can't even imagine the reactions from the baseball world. It's going to be insane. And I think that would almost guarantee at least the delay into next season because that contract is going to take a long time to get an agreement from the owners and the players.
Yeah, I don't think whoever signs him, because there's a good chance that he might get traded. He won't stay with the team that he gets traded to, because I think at this point they're probably going to trade him.
Hmm.
So, if I think I mean that's so far down the line, so we won't even know. But there is a good chance that he will not wind up. There's a good chance he might get traded to some team, and then another team will give him a big contract. That happens all the time. Just because these guys get traded to the team doesn't mean that they're gonna stay. So
Yeah.
we'll definitely see what happens down the line. But until then, it definitely I think those are pretty front face the two teams that are gonna look to trade him. It really is just gonna be depending on who is willing to give up more.
This reminds me a lot of Shohei Ohtani in his last year with the Angels. They didn't want to trade him. They wanted to get as much as they could out of that last 2 months, month and a half, um, knowing they weren't going anywhere, knowing they weren't going to resign him.
Well,
So,
the Angels were actually in a playoff spot during that. Well, they're not in a playoff spot, but they were in the hunt. And they actually traded for people, and they just went on an epic collapse after the trade deadline. So it really just like backfired in their face. They they were in a spot where they could have made the playoffs, but obviously the Angels just didn't have anything in them.
mhm.
So I mean, it is a similar situation where you have Tarek Skubal, right before a potential huge contract. A big question on where is he going to go?
Yeah. So I would say the odds are, if they're smart, they're probably going to trade him. They kind of made it clear that they don't think they're going to resign him. They didn't. They didn't give him what was it, like earlier this year when they had to agree on a new amount for this season. They didn't want to give him what he thought he was worth. It was crazy. I really forget the numbers, but they were so far apart. It was insane. It was almost insulting, and I feel like they kind of made it clear they don't think they're going to give him big money to stay in Detroit. So if they're
Yeah,
smart, they can get so much back. I do think if the Yankees were to acquire him, it would 100% take at least George Lombard, if not Legrand and Alma Rodriguez too. Even though he's only a 2 month rental, he won back-to-back sign-on awards. He's gonna cost a lot.
I mean, if you want my opinion, I mean, I think it's ridiculous that the Tigers, no matter what market you're in, you have a franchise player. I mean, I just don't understand what you can't do to not bring him back. Like, I think you need to. If I'm an owner, I'm trying to do everything to bring someone like him back. But I mean, who knows? I mean, even the Rays, who don't spend money, they spend a lot of money to keep one of their guys. So I mean, it's kind of dumbfounding that the Tigers don't even want to, you know, keep him.
Yeah, same thing with the Pirates and Paul Skeens. Obviously, his free agency is farther down the line, but I mean that's a guy. Even though he only plays every 5 days, you're still gonna pack the ballpark every time he starts, and
Yeah,
it is insane that these teams don't go all out to try and keep their stars.
his case is more interesting though because I do think he wants to leave. I think Scooball did want to stay at one point, uh, but if you remember what happened last off season, things were a little shaky.
Yeah, I do agree with that. I think Paul Skeens belongs in a large market, while Skubal probably I think he fits well in Detroit, but of course he can go be an ace anywhere. So
Yeah, for sure.
so I think think that's about it, right? Nothing else really to talk about.
Nah, I think the only thing I'll say is that, I had a great time at the parade. It was an amazing top tier experience. New York finally is our champions again. So, Knicks on top.
Yeah. So I guess thanks for listening. Hopefully, both teams can step it up in these upcoming series. Hopefully, we can do the next episode after this current series starting. We've been on a rough stretch of things getting in the way, but so that'll do it. Let's go Yankees.
Let's go Knicks and let's go Mets.